So Ability 360 is a nonprofit agency working with people with all types of disabilities, and our goal and mission is to empower folks to be as independent as possible in the community and having choices and options in their life as to where they want to live, what they want to do, the jobs they want, and live life just like anybody else, with or without a disability.
In the 9 years that I've been in state government, I've found that Ability 360 is one of our best partners. They've certainly continued to teach me every day.
I'd say I'm definitely an advocate because I have firsthand experience, not only living with a disability, but also just maneuvering and getting through and in the world.
Housing for people with disabilities is so difficult. It's one of the three main issues and barriers toward independence and integration in the community. Housing, employment, and transportation are the big three.
When we're modifying a unit, we're working with that individual to meet their disability needs while we're trying to create a wholly accessible unit for future use.
The waiting lists, first of all, don't open up for new applications. Secondly, when they are open, then a person gets on a waiting list that can many times be between 1 and 4 years long. So to find an apartment that's accessible and affordable in a timely manner is very difficult.
There are 325,000 family units in Maricopa County with at least one family member who has a disability, so we're probably short with respect to the inventory.
And as we know, as a society, we're getting older. Baby boomers are getting older. We want to live in our own place, live in our community. We don't want to be relegated back to nursing home. It's more costly for taxpayers. It's more desirable for everyone to be in the community.
Nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring. You could have an accident, break a hip, and you're in the house for weeks with a wheelchair. The house isn't accessible, you're lost for those several weeks. The house is accessible, you'll be able to have therapy at home and be able to still maneuver around the house. So no, that's something that should be in there. That's just my feeling.
The educational piece is so important because we can tell folks and prove over years of experience that by being able to add accessible features up front, right away in the blueprint stage, the cost to add those features in a single family home are only a few $100s.
So in our Glendale property, which was our first development, we're going to just sprinkle in a few accessible units at the front end. And after meeting with Ability 360, we determined let's make this whole development fully accessible.
The average home lasts about 50 years. And so right now, as we sit here today, we are building homes that will last until the year 2068. Also, Americans are moving at a pace of every 7 years in and out of different homes. Over the course of that 50-year home, we will have about 7 families coming and going, buying and selling on that property. Chances are very great that at least one of those 7 families will benefit from accessibility, and that's why we do it up front.
We have a couple properties that have a building of 6 or 8 that are fully modified, and those people, they don't leave. They love the features, they live in those units, they're wonderful tenants.
If somebody was to come into my house, they would have no idea that if I wasn't there, this was built for somebody in the chair. The integration from this house to this house, let's say, if you will, there's no difference, none whatsoever.
Maybe years ago, there was a misconception about it just looked ugly, but we have a lot of things now that are available to remodel and make it a beautiful home.
To our competition, we say if you're not building accessible housing, you're crazy. You're losing ground to folks like us who have made that commitment, and it doesn't cost any more money to really think through accessibility as you're designing and building your properties. And it's a good business decision too. It's helped our bottom line, it's reduced our turnover, it's reduced our operating expenses, and some features cost a little bit more on the front end, but it's just a marginal increase. And most of the features cost nothing more at all.
Number one requirement, listen to your client, and then listen to your client find out what their needs are, see where your knowledge base and your understanding fits. But customer service always starts, regardless of your client's physical capabilities, with using your ears.